and went into professionally channeling, everything increased, was enhanced, and my journey, I have a lot to give thanks to my mentor, Red Bear, who sees all worlds, who is now deceased, was very helpful in guidance. And when I started to travel, there were certain places I was to go. And when we first started with the motorhome, I was to visit a Lakota medicine man. And he died within the week before we started our Southwest trip. And I said to Red Bear, I said, what am I going to do now? And he said, when seekers seek you, their answers come in. So my gift is when a seeker contacts me, and at that point, I am able to see their beings around them. I can look at their past, present, and future, and whatever questions they ask, their answers will come in for their greater good.
What types of beings or guides do you see when you're doing a reading for someone?
Oh gosh. First of all, I would scan their body for anything that their guides want me to tell them, because I can see at cellular level. I have absolutely no medical, but I can describe color, form, texture, what I'm shown within the body. And then when I go around the outer area, I will usually see their spirit guides, their spirit animals appear for them. I see their lineage of their deceased loved ones from the present clear into, I've probably seen about 13 generations would be the highest I've seen. And I see it on the maternal side and the paternal side. So we know which aunt or uncle. And then when they appear, I can describe them to the person I am channeling. And so we have an idea. And along with that, I usually know the area of the world. Um, um, that comes in through channeling. And then depending on what the person is seeking, they can ask for a deceased loved one. And I can describe who appears at that time to them.
Do you ever see interdimensional beings or
Yes.
extraterrestrials?
Yes, yes. I've had them come in on channelings. You not only feel their presence, but I see them. And one of them that came in, this was in the early part of my channeling, and I was at the psychic show in Des Moines, Iowa. And I was channeling for a being who was probably more star being himself than human most of the time. I mean, he would go into stores and the computers would shut down. It just about him. But anyway, I was having a hard time channeling him because it was questions to do with his wiring and connecting. And I tried really hard to use the words that were being given to me. I mean, I even got a headache, Margie. And I had a glass of water setting on my table. And the harder I tried, the more I could see ripples in that water. I realized at that point how strong the frequencies were. When we finished that channeling, of course, back then I had a little cassette player recording, and the person I was channeling for, he said, Judy, don't worry. What you do not give me, they add in when I listen to it. So after that
Oh.
channeling, I mean, that was the first time I was aware that the presence was actually there. And more so than most, but the person I was channeling says, Judy, they want to give you a gift. Are you willing to accept it? And I said, I absolutely am. I would be honored to. So his star being, star person, gave it to him. He gave it to me, put it in my hand. And when I opened my hand, I could see it. And it looked like a very miniature Sputnik. If you remember back what
Oh,
the
yeah.
Russian,
Uh-huh.
okay, it was very miniature. And at that time, I thanked them. It started orbiting counterclockwise at heart level around me. It's been there ever since.
That is wild. I have never heard you say that. That is wild.
Another being that came in was I was out in Arizona and we were in the motorhome, and the lady I channeled for, um, I was channeling her, and her being came right beside us, and I'm sitting there. I could see the chartreuse green skin, the hand, and there was just a feeling of love in the room. And I said, are you seeing your being? And she said, no, but I can feel a presence. And I said, he's right here. I said, ask him anything. And she said, I don't know what to ask. I said, and anyway, she said, if you can think of something. I said, so I asked, I said, how would she know other beings of your kind were around her? And he told me that all their beings have just a very small little little thing right there. I mean, it isn't noticeable to most people. So I told her. She looked across at me and she said, oh, you mean that thing? And I said, oh my gosh, yes. And she laughed, and that part went on. But she also said, as a small child, she could remember walking in the small town she lived in. And, um, there were sidewalks on each side of the street. She said she knew the color of people's eyes on the opposite side of the street. It was amazing, and she's a
Yeah.
very honorable being. She's written a couple books now. She loves Bojai, and her she had me channel for her mother later. And I don't know how much time you want to spend on this, Margie, but when I channeled for her mother, she wanted her mom to pick out one of the crystals I had with me, and I had several. And I laid them in the center of the table, and her mom moved her hand across the top of those, probably about maybe 4 or 5 inches above them, to choose the crystal she wanted. And the section between her hand and the crystals totally went rainbow shades. I'd never seen anything like it in my life, haven't seen anything since. And as I channeled her mom, she was sad at a point, and I said, is there a reason for your sadness? And she said, I'm experiencing the place of souls. Never heard that either
What
since or
does that
before.
mean?
Well, I'll tell you what I know about her mother. Her mother was one of the people that overused their power when Atlantis went. She was one of the main people.
Oh,
That
okay.
was revealed later, yeah. Haven't met someone from, well, I have met others from there, but no one at that power level. Yeah.
When you are in a group of people, do you recognize star beings or hybrids?
Do what you cut out, Margie? What was the question?
When you're in
When
with
I'm
a
in a
group of
group of
people,
people,
do you recognize star beings or hybrids that are in the room without anybody saying anything to you?
not usually, but if that person, um, if I'm drawn to ask them a question or they seek to ask a question, I know at that point. I've had them come in channelings from upward lineage of the person I was channeling. And at one time, we had a being come in that had only lived one life on Earth. That's how pure, yeah,
That's unusual.
it is very unusual, very much so.
I've run into several people now who have just incarnated in this lifetime and were previously on other planets. So it makes me wonder why that's happening. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, we're all hybrids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I channel people, I can see them sometimes the being they are. I had one I was set up to channel one night, and she was running a little late for the channeling, or I was running a little early, so I was in at my desk and I did purification, and my room was dark except for a candle, and I'm sitting there, and I looked across the table, and here her star being was already there. I could see her, and I thought, oh my gosh. And as I glanced over, we have, it's our extra bedroom, so I've got a twin bed there with, a headboard. There was uh, a huge orb, a solid deep blue, and I could see the headboard around it, but I could not see through it. And I'm just sitting there in awe. No picture. I mean, there wasn't, I think it was only probably seconds that it was there, but I was so amazed by its presence. I've never seen an orb that big, that solid, up close and personal. It wasn't more than maybe 2.5 feet from me. And then she came in for her channeling.
Uh
And
huh.
when she showed or come in for her channeling, of course, she's states away, so it's do it over the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm channeling, looking at her being across from me, and I sketched that being out. And the thing about it was the hands were different, but any space in the room other than her being looked like small cut pieces of crystal that just seemed to twinkle. It was awesome in that room.
Hmm.
Yeah, yep.
Have you had a lot of orb sightings?
Since I've moved here, I have not been as active into the filming, but when we lived, before we moved here, that's where I started and did the most in depth work for orbs. But when you talk about orb or sphere sightings, recently one of the friends my friends here saw this huge disc, but it wasn't an orb, or Margie. It was a UFO.
Yeah.
But you wanted to talk about orbs that I had filmed or interacted with?
Well, yes, and I'm reminded of the investigation that we did together in Tightwad, Missouri, at your neighbor's house. And
Yes.
well, I'll just set the scene for this, and then I'll let you
You
explain.
want to talk about that time? Okay.
Yeah, that time that was quite an experience. There was a lot going on at this site, and I had obviously been to your place, and I knew that there was a presence there, that there was some type of a portal that was very big, and that also encompassed your neighbor's house. and and just to let everybody know, there was a lot of stuff going on at this house, and the neighbor wanted some help, so
Needed some help. You're
needed some
right.
help. So we were there, and one of the things she told me is that every night at dusk, these multiple orbs would come over a hill and come down the hill into the wooded area in her, well, kind of front yard area.
Yeah.
And this is an area where there's a lot of space between the homes.
Yes.
It's not like a suburb, it's more rural.
We each had 3 acres or more.
Yeah, yeah. And so there were a lot of trees, and I could just feel a presence. But sure enough, right at dusk, we're standing outside on the deck, and here come these balls of light coming down the side of the hill, and then they dance around in the trees, and they were moving very slowly. And I took a lot of pictures of them, and I felt like there was intelligence with these orbs. And later on, I was reviewing my photos, and in one of them was something I was not expecting. In a million years, I was not expecting this. Here is a tiny ET sitting at a console like he's driving the craft inside that orb in the picture. And later on, I kind of figured out what was going on with that. But then we go inside the house, and Judy has a night vision camera, and we're all looking through it. So I'll let you take it from there, Judy, to tell us the rest of the story.
Okay. I'm not sure which one we did inside that night. If you want to give me kind of a heads up, because there were so many filmings that went on there.
That it's at that time, it was dark outside at that point,
Yeah.
and the orbs quit outside, so we moved inside. And
Okay.
looking through your night vision camera, we saw hundreds of orbs going
Okay.
through the house, but we could also see a few of them with the naked eye.
Okay. When we would have that kind of orb action and be able to see with the naked eye or having it on camera, my friend also used her, um, oh, her pendulum. At different times, we set up communication and got response. And that's one thing I want your listeners to be very aware of. Anytime there is contact, any kind of contact, you have an intelligent being within communicating with you. And what we did, because with the pendulum, it started out, I believe, being in an ancient language. And I ask that they speak to us in our language as we know it. And from then on, letter by letter, it would go in our language. Those orbs were absolutely awesome to work with. Always interact, all sizes. And I've also seen an orb that, this was after I'd had thyroid surgery on my throat. And I had also seen an orb. When it moved, it wasn't real fast moving, it was slow. slowed down for us, and it almost had a movement like a jellyfish, and it had a light blue to it. And on the camera, the video infrared, it showed it coming and setting on my throat and just throbbing there. And then it left. I couldn't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just always give honor, because when they're there, it's for our greater good. And any contact that my students that I mentor, my acquaintances, when they've had contact, would be beings from their upward lineage or past lives. And also, orbs can be associated with the house or the land. That I usually
Yes.
see in spirits.
Mm-hmm.
But an orb is, with an orb, just remember the eyes have it. That orb can see and interact. You, Margie, you being up in Kansas City, me being here in Mountain Home, Arkansas, if you were looking in on me, you would probably be within an orb, whether I could see you or not. Because I can see orbs with the naked eye sometimes, but
Mm-hmm.
I see the presence and a movement of a being most of the time.
So, do you believe that orbs are spirits, and then also perhaps the astral body of a living person or their consciousness?
I have. Is this within channeling or just with my naked eye?
Either way.
With the naked eye, I have seen. I know one time I'd fallen asleep and I woke up, and looking right at me was a young man, maybe about 5 feet away from me. And I looked at him, he looked at me, and I thought instantly time traveler, and he was gone. It's like there was no more energy to keep him here.
Hmm.
I haven't had that one happen again. Um, I've had a presence of uh, Bigfoot appear, and telepathy that was here. I have also had one come within a channeling. The one that appeared here had the black fur. The one that had appeared in the channeling had the rust colored fur. And very, the power around them is almost unbelievable, but gentle and highly intelligent, highly intelligent. And you can ask any questions around there you want to, Margie, or wherever you want
Yeah.
to go.
Have you had any experience with Sasquatch doing healing work on people?
No. And I'll tell you why. For that to happen, in my opinion, is a one-on-one for that person to. You went to your doctor for healing, Margie. Well,
Mm-hmm.
if you go to, I also know him as Sabe, Sasquatch. Maybe our listeners, it's Bigfoot, more common to them. I think more honor is in Sasquatch or Sabe, as the natives know him. But that is a direct being. You go straight to him, and if you want healing, there's where you ask.
Yeah, I agree. I've had some
Yep.
experience with that myself. If you ask for it, they will come, and it doesn't matter if it is a Sasquatch can show up, an ET can show up, an
right.
interdimensional being can show up. If you put that out there, the benevolent ones will come to assist. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
We are up on a break already, 25 after, so we'll be back right after these short messages. Are you thinking about purchasing a wood-fired heating or cooking appliance but don't know where to start? The new book, Wood-Fired Heating and Cooking, will guide you through the process and make the decision much easier. Find out about wood stoves, wood-burning fireplace inserts, masonry heaters, cook stoves, brick ovens, and more. Learn about operation and maintenance, buying and storing wood, even how to make your own charcoal. A bonus section includes delicious recipes for cooking in a wood-burning oven, grill, tandoori oven, or smoker. The wise homeowner, prepper, or homesteader will have the ability to heat their home with wood when the power goes out or to save money on increasing gas bills. Wood-fired heating and cooking is available at Amazon. Visit www.woodfiredpub.com for more information. That's woodfiredpub.com. And we are back. I'm Margie Kay with UNX News, and we're talking today with my good friend Judy White Wolf about orbs and ETs and Sasquatch and all kinds of cool stuff. I do have to ask you this, Judy, before I don't want to forget about it, because you do something very unique. You communicate with the stone beings, and I'd like for you to elaborate on that a bit.
Well, I guess I separate the types of beings, but communicating with every being basically is the same. It's just like talking to an old friend because the stone beings, if you treat them as a being, you can feel their energy. They will, well, the Bojai stone is a great help for channeling because, as you know, it will enhance channeling tremendously. The Bojais are a unique stone that is a direct line to direct line. And when we're talking about star beings or stone beings, then Venus, then the
Okay,
backside of the,
can you
yeah.
just repeat that? You cut out the last couple sentences.
Okay, my contact with beings as far as places, my earliest contact, and the Bojai stones help with a lot of this. Crystals do too. But the earliest was Pallades, and my origin is there. I also believe that Sabe has origins from Pallades, and I say that because of their interaction with the Native American people is so strong, very
Mm-hmm.
strong. And my deceased beloved friend Kina talked about when she'd seen them and experienced, heard the voice and
You're
and
still cutting out. You're cutting out a little bit again. What
the
about Kina?
main part. Um, Kina honored the Sabe, her people on the reserve. This is their reserve was between Upper Michigan, U.S. and Canada, and
Mm-hmm.
they knew where the Sabe gathered, where they fished, and they were elusive, but their power was there. You know, to have a clan of wolf or bear, they had a clan of Sabe, and very strong. And Kina had seen them before. She had experienced their song, uh, and she said, "You'll have it all when you describe them, Judy." She said their fur is a silk, and
Mm.
anyway, backside
Looks like our
and
connection is going out a bit.
okay, maybe I'm moving too much. I don't know.
That might help. Try not to move too much. Um,
Okay, and Venus and Jupiter finished it up.
okay, let's. I think we missed the part about Venus and Jupiter. So, can you repeat that?
The planets that I've had or one of my students have experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go, Jupiter's the most recent. And what the people I mentor, the main part, when you see something,
Boy, somebody
don't
does
ask
not.
what.
Somebody doesn't want us to know about this stuff because you keep cutting out on that. Let's try a different topic. How do we
I'm
know, or how would an individual know if they are a star being? If they are if the part of their DNA is ET? You said everybody is, but are
they
there
are.
any
They
signs or
are.
indicators?
Wow, what would you do to indicate? Um, the ones that I have helped with this, when I channel Margie, I'm shown the percentage of star being they are. It's like a half
Oh.
fan is above their head, and that's how
Mhm.
come I know my greater percentage Pallades. Now we have other ones in there, but you one that you are gifts and origin, even do not carry the same percentage of star being.
Okay,
Okay,
so
and I know
yeah,
that. Yeah.
you cut out a little bit, but did you say that not everybody has the same percentage of star being?
No, they don't,
Right.
and everyone is different. We are not created equal. When I've never met two people, whether they're twins or they have only been born maybe like a year apart, it's different. It's different on everyone, Margie. And it's
Mm-hmm.
always interesting to know because those are the beings that connect them. I mean, connect to that interact with them. They're the ones that they will see in that ship above them they have contact with or come to them if you seek. And what I've seen is once you have been that seeker to be channeled, your awareness expands, your spirituality grows. And
Mm-hmm.
when that happens, you start experiencing, well, seeing is believing. So when you are able to have a frequency and not have a fear, they start presenting themselves to you in an orb or in a sighting.
Let's talk about frequency for a minute because I know you and I are both very tuned in to
Yes,
frequency. As a person grows and becomes more aware, and as you said, seeks out knowledge and is ready for more,
right.
does their frequency increase?
Yes. And it continues to increase. That frequency will be like flat like a ribbon or sharp like a monitor, like a heart monitor. And those can expand in thickness in any direction, depending on the person and their place of origin. Crystals, bogai, I love labradorite, all of those stone beings help your awareness them on.
Oh boy, we've got a bad connection, folks. I'm sorry about that. Uh, Judy, we keep getting you cut out. You were talking about the stone beans and how all of these in crystals and things can help you raise frequency, correct?
Absolutely, because you benefit from their knowledge, their frequency, that interaction
Mm-hmm.
between you, and always remember to honor them because you're not the one in charge. Humans probably have the least amount of gathered experience and knowledge of anything on this planet. The stone beings are the oldest living being on the planet. And then you've got all the awesome trees. If you, I'm sure you've got a favorite tree that calls to you in your yard. If you
Mm-hmm.
would just walk up, put a hand on either side, you can actually feel its energy. You can feel that sap moving. And if you've got any problem, if you sit at the base of that tree and ask your question, be eager, it's all what will happen in your life. And the medicine of the animals. My guides come in so that I could see them. And one thing during that learning time, my guides would stay until the next guide would come in. And then I may have 2 or 3 guides there that I could see. But after a while, it dawned on me, my guides levels using my
Boy,
gift.
yeah, Judy, you're just cutting out too much. We're not getting a whole sentence.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh my goodness.
the internet connection is terrible. I know my internet went down slower today, and I was complaining to Ray said I think they're doing it on purpose, so we have to upgrade to fiber optics. But
Oh my, that could be happening here. Yeah.
yeah, I'm thinking what we should do because I don't want people to miss a word of what you're saying. I think what we need to do is revisit this at a later date. Maybe we can record this in some other fashion and then upload it. Well, so we're gonna redo the whole show, folks. I hate to do this. I really hate to do it, But we're gonna have to do that, Judy. I appreciate you coming on and getting some of the information out anyway. That's really important for people to know, and I think you have an excellent way of explaining everything. So
Thank you, Margie. And what I did bring and what they did here tonight was for the greater good of contact. It's so important right now. Are you hearing any sentences now?
yes, it's perfectly
Okay.
fine now.
Okay.
Yeah.
The contact that has been going on, just like in the last month, happened in Kearney, Missouri. My granddaughter, her door cam was triggered by this huge object. And there's no way that door cam was triggered except by contact to her through frequency. And that door cam was fast enough, I think, and it caught it. And
It sure did.
You've seen it, Margie, and
I've seen it.
And it's contact pure. And my granddaughter, from where her home is, she's about 11 to 50 miles or so from the deepest part of the lake.
You just cut out again.
Oh,
Yeah, you're cutting
okay.
out.
But
Yeah,
it's happening every. Okay.
It is happening everywhere. We're going to have to revisit it. We'll figure something out. We'll get Judy back, folks. Sorry about the bad connection. There's a conspiracy, I'm sure.
Well, sometimes it depends. It's happened before to me when I'm on a subject that perhaps we've said enough on or something. But just know the intelligence life is in the sender. Okay?
Okay.
Either way, whether you send or they send. And it's always two-way telepathy. Always.
Good
I don't
information.
know when you can hear me or not.
I heard that. That's good information, and thank you for joining me on the full wolf moon. Judy White Wolf and Judy, we'll get back together. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Derek.
Okay. Sorry about that, folks, but sometimes technology just does not want to cooperate with us. So for the next few minutes, I'm going to open this up to questions. And so if you have a question for me, we will go forward. I'm seeing a few comments here under comments. If you want to put something in there, I'll answer your questions. If you want a real quick psychic reading, I will do that. Just ask one question, and we'll do that. So, and let me see what Tamara said. Do you mean percentage physically past star being or past life percentage? Judy was talking about part star being. So that would be the DNA part of you, and probably even into spirit as well, because something might not show up in DNA, but you could still be that. Okay, I've got a question from Marie. Love to have a reading. How is my third eye doing? Okay, Marie, let me just take a look at you for a minute. And usually I ask what city a person is in to find them, but I know Marie, so I've got her. Yeah, you have a little bit of a blockage there, Marie, and I am hearing that you need to have the color yellow and the color lavender around you, and that will help open your third eye. Now, this is something that's different for everybody, so just don't take that as a blanket statement for every person. But That's what I'm seeing is for you. And also, you are supposed to have lemon water. And this is a biggie. I actually do see that a lot for a lot of people. I think we're probably all supposed to be drinking lemon water. So lemon, fresh lemon cut up and then squeezed into water and have several glasses of that a day would be the best thing. Okay, Jesse says, I had contact of the first kind in 2010. This is all very interesting. Well, welcome to the club, Jesse. We are glad to have you among us. And yes, there's a secret and special club of contactees, and I'd like to hear exactly what it is, how your contact happened, what that contact was. So, okay, I've got another question. Tamara says, reading would be awesome. Am I on the right path in changing my job? Okay, Tamara, let me just take a look at you. And I know what state you're in. Wow, I'm seeing two paths for you, one on each side, and they're very, very different paths that you have an opportunity to do either one of them, and they both feel strong. One doesn't overpower the other one. So here's what I'm seeing. Both strong, but after a while, the one on the left-hand side, and I think you must know which one this is, the one on the left-hand side is drawing backwards. So that means that's not going to be a permanent deal. But the one on your right side, if you don't know which one that is, hold your right hand out and just let that energy go out to the job that you're seeking, and then, close your eyes and it'll be shown to you. So you might try that. All right. Tamara says she does know what I'm talking about. What do you know? One on the right side, one on the left. I've never seen that with a job before. So that's kind of weird. So anybody else have any questions? We've got just a few more minutes here on the show, and I promise I will bring Judy White Wolf back when we can get a good connection, because I want you to hear all of her words. All right. We have Jesse says, I saw some orbs, and 3 days later, a gray alien. He spoke telepathically, and I saw him up close, floating in my bedroom momentarily. Wow, Jesse, that is a great sighting, great contact. And that means that you were ready for that, because that doesn't happen unless you're ready for it. So mentally, you must have been working on that and asking for contact, and because they don't come unless you ask them. And if you're seeking information. So speaking telepathically, I want to talk about that for a second, because with telepathy, no matter what language the other person speaks, you hear it in your language. So it's like an automatic translator that's in your brain that switches that. So a lot of people ask me that question, so I just want to explain that. And Jesse, you saw him up close, floating in your bedroom momentarily. That's interesting. So what I would say is that you are probably going to have more experiences in the future. You're going to have more contact, and they may be different beings, but since you're on that frequency level now, they're going to catch that and feel that, and then want to be near you to help your progress. So, Jesse says you're absolutely right. Thanks, Margie. Okay. All right. I like it when I'm right. Okay. So Tamara likes the left and right hand method. Okay. We've got Donna says, I'm picking up orb-type objects right now on security cam in my house that resemble small craft. Now, I've been working on Donna's case for a long time, and she always gets great pictures of things. And her security camera system is an HD system, and she gets good photos of spirits and unknown creatures at her house and orbs and UFOs. She's got everything there. I think she's got a big portal over her house. So now the craft have shown up, probably, Donna, because you've been thinking about them and watching this show, and you've been thinking about it in your mind, and so they've shown up. I found that when I think about them, or if I want them to show up, I don't even have to do a meditation to get them to show up. But, if I do a meditation by myself or with other people and then go out and look, they show up. And sometimes they'll come in very close and let you take pictures of them. It's kind of neat. Okay. Fred says, how's my mom? Okay, Fred, let me take a look here. Mom is fine, and she is holding a big, huge wooden spoon in her hand. So that, when I see that, that usually means that she is a baker or a cook. And she liked to, I see her mixing things in a bowl. So I'm going to say baker. And, wow. Okay, your mom and dad on the other side. They're together. She's on the left side. He's on the right side. And he's got his hand on her back, like he's her protector, and with her and backing her up. That's kind of symbolic for that. I would say they're doing great, Fred. I would not worry about them at all. They're doing very well. And they're watching over you. That is for sure. I feel their presence around you quite a bit. And I think you feel that. I know you feel that. And they're also showing me that they do show up as orbs, too. So a couple of bright orbs in your room, when you're thinking about them, they'll show up. And, speaking of that, that's... Judy was talking about this earlier. I also believe that orbs can be different things. But one thing is that they can be spirits of people who have crossed over. And it's the energy of that person. My own mother, after she passed over, appeared to me as a ball of light. And she explained to me, because I asked her, she contacted me only 1 week after she passed, and it was a shock to me. I wasn't expecting that. And she said, I asked a few questions about what it's like on the other side. And one of the things she told me is that the spirit is made up of light photons, and that it partially. And that is why they are illuminated when you see the spirits, either as a ball of light or as an apparition that forms. And the apparition is made up of photons. So that's why when you're in the dark, you can see that spirit more easily than if you were in a room with lights on or during the day. That's why spirits are seen more at nighttime, because it's a very, very light, very dull. It's not a super, super bright white light, but it's just a low, dull light that you can see as an apparition. Okay, Marie says, how's my sister Ruby doing on the other side? Marie, I have to say that this lady is a very active being. She's busy, busy, busy. I see her running around doing different things, and also around machinery. So she must have done that in life, and she's still connected to that now. And I don't like to use the word death, because I don't think that that's a good term. It's not the truth. There's no death of the soul. So, she's living on, and she is working around machinery, which I don't see very often with ladies. So hopefully you can understand that. Okay, we just have time for one more quick question. Melinda says, how can I determine who sent me on an unpleasant message if it was the person who owns the phone or someone else using their phone? It's really getting me down. Okay. I think, Melinda, we're going to address that later. I will send you a private message, and I'll see, what if I can get you some more information. Marie says, wow, light photons, she was a seamstress. Well, that would be machinery. So, yeah, there you go. That's a machine. Okay, folks. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm Margie Kay with UNX News, and I will see you here again next week.